students, we शिक्षा का जो एक सही मायने में अर्थ होता था वो गुरुकुल पद्धति में लोग करते थे, क्योंकि at that time the education was more of subjective education. Means whatever a student needs, the teacher used to say what are the etiquettes and what are the intricacies the student can be taught. The same education he used to give to him, and the other student may not be given the same education like what was required. Today, in the objective education, all the students sitting in a class have necessarily to learn the same subjects. This is because of the quantity. We need to educate so many students. We need to give, say, some knowledge to so many students. Make them literate and give knowledge to so many students, whether they like it or not. This Tare Jami Par and all these pictures which are said. So they are excellent examples of that. 3 Idiots came. I was director of MNIT Jaipur, and the press reporters asked me, "Does this happen in your institute?" Somebody else doing degree for others. He said, so this kind of question was asked by press reporters. I had never come across those kind of things in real life, but well, anything can happen. These days people say that one can get PhD thesis written in so many thousand rupees or so many lakhs of rupees and so on. So those things can happen. Now that subjective education, objective education, we all know there used to be Gurugrams like Gurgaon. Now Gurugram people say द्रोणाचार्य एक शिक्षक थे, उनके शिष्य राजा के बेटे होते थे, भीम को गदा चलाना सिखाया गया, अर्जुन को तीर चलाना सिखाया गया, same king, same teacher, same thing, which is practically not possible in today's education system because of the quantity. Now, so that went on, and then we had excellent universities. We also know that Nalanda, the first one, the Takshashila, and people from all over the world used to come and study with us. So this is our heritage. So we feel proud of that when we go through this, and we feel very happy about it. But is that the end of it? Feeling proud, feeling happiness by our philosophy, Indian philosophy, by our heritage does not suffice, does not make the things go now, right now. We then keep on talking value education. We should have Naitik Shiksha, value education. Value education should be an integral part of our education, right from starting from the school level, or as was said, at the family level, in the house. What is the family now? I'll come to that later, that what is the family system we have now in our education system. Then came the Britishers, and mostly from 1757 to 1947, their influence on our country in all aspects of the country, including the education, was tremendous. They started working for it. They also established universities. The first university, the modern type of university which we see now today, was established in about 1853, 54. Until 57, there were a couple of other colleges, medical college and also. So these things came in. Lord Macaulay, we all know, it is told, if you see the common people, the Britishers wanted to train, make clerks to serve them and rule the country. That was not only thing. They wanted to educate our country, where people, and they started educating them. The medical colleges came, the engineering colleges came, universities came, but with a different motive, different purpose. In that, the value education, Naitik Shiksha, which was in their way, now those countries also have their value education. So in their context, they wanted to train people. And Macaulay did a survey and gave a report in the parliament, the British parliament there, that if you want to rule this country, then you have to break their self-esteem, self-respect. So this was the main theme of the Macaulay's education system when he started with this. Because what he found, this is on the internet, you can read this if you like about Macaulay, you can find that Indian people are self-esteem people, highly satisfied and incorruptible. Indian people are incorruptible. So unless you break their self-esteem, स्वाभिमान, उनका स्वाभिमान जब तक आप खत्म नहीं करेंगे, तब तक आप उस देश पे राज नहीं कर सकते, उनको कंकर नहीं कर सकते. So that was the underlying principle behind the education system system, and then rest is all you know, that's the history. Now, our Vedic education, or whatever name you may give it, you can call it Vedic or Indian education or Bharatiya education, I don't like to use Indian. I'll come to that later. That was that we used to live in harmony with nature. It was a harmonious way of living of the people, and that's how they were satisfied. They were fully satisfied, and it was also a decentralized way of living. We used to live in it because the environmental conditions in our country are such, in this region I would say, not only Bharatvarsh, but also in the entire region, are such that we can live in harmony with nature, unlike the Western countries where the vagaries of nature are very harsh. Many times, बर्फ पड़ती है, बहुत खराब है मौसम होता है, या बहुत high temperatures भी होते हैं. All those things, we have got a reasonable kind of weather, so we have been living in harmony with nature in a decentralized fashion, and all our way of life was such that it was totally in conformity with the people, with the nature and all that, and we had interpersonal relationships. That's what is going on. And when we were living in a decentralized fashion, it was not a closed door society like today. Now, the modern developmental, and it is, it looks like there is no escape from it. We are moving much faster on the same route. There is also cultural invasion on our country, and the simple example of this, all of us sitting here, we have changed our dress, we have changed our way of thinking. Our ladies also, you rarely find ladies now with sarees and all that. So those cultural invasions are there, and that comes here also to our brain. Everything connected. These days, when we centralize things, we have to make things in a small pocket bigger and bigger. Means taller buildings, more electricity we have to generate, more power. Everything leads to going against the natural way of living. And when I'm saying nature, I include all this in this. That is, whether you like to call it including the God or Atma, and everything comes together in the nature, or meditation part of it you call it. So in the closed door society, what happens? We are never aware what is happening to our next door neighbor. Who is our next door neighbor? We never even know those people. Whereas in a decentralized way, when we used to live like this, the entire village or small town used to share things or know about sorrows and joys of each and everybody, and this was a way of life which was continued. Whether it is possible to go to that, I think that seems to be very, very difficult now. It is almost impossible. So this is one thing I think we have to understand. When the education, the university system was coming up, some kind of example had come before us by Shri Rabindranath Tagore ji. He had made Shanti Niketan at around the same time. And the concept of Shanti Niketan was the education even did not have the four walls of buildings and all, you can have it open. Or what sometimes people in education say, keep your doors and windows open to let the knowledge flow in from all sides to you. So that kind of education system was started, and it was experimented. It was a sort of a improved version of Gurukul, you could say at that time. But that could not sustain. It could not be replicated, or it could not be made bigger and bigger. So that's another thing which has to be seen. The other thing we have to see, that education after independence, it was prime responsibility of the government, central government and state governments. And when the government system started, prime responsibility, I'm saying, bulk of it was by the government system, but also there were also private organizations. The government, at least the government schools are totally failed in our country, as of today. The government school, by and large, even the teachers of the government school, they do not want to send their children in the government school. They want to do a job in the government school. This is very interesting thing in the country. People like to get government jobs, but they do not want that their children should be in the government school. People like to become government doctors, but they do not want that they should go to government hospital for treatment of their own or their parents. And on these two fronts, school education and also hospital, medical system. All the governments in the country, or in an independent country, they have failed, whichever government was there. And that is the net result of that which we see today. So this is another thing which has to be addressed, and addressed in a very serious way. Ujhdo wali jo baat thi. So that Ujhdo is good, seems good, but how much effective we are making it? All universities have been asked to adopt villages. All government officers have been asked to adopt villages. All members of parliament or state legislature, they have been asked to adopt villages. But what is the impact of that has to be seen, and how it can be done? Why that is happening? So this is what one has to look at. Now, after giving this sort of background, let me say then, what needs to be done is we understand the problem. I think all the people sitting here on the dais, they are very highly enlightened people. They all understand all these things. So the questions arises. First, we should also examine simultaneously why this happened, and that why is very difficult on some points. Why this happened? What needs to be done? So we should also ask this question: that what should be done? One can keep saying that this is not good, that is not good, that is not good. Okay, that's fine. But how this can be improved? What should be done? How this will be improved? Some examples are given by SWAM and all this new or digitization, which our Honorable Prime Minister is giving a lot of emphasis on this, and that Geo is being launched and so on and so forth. So that is one aspect of it, that how this can be done. Next is who will do it. Now on this who will do it, one concept is Ujhdo, the other concept is the people who will be doing it, those persons have to be supported and sustained. And how those persons can be supported and sustained. So these are some of the questions. I think there should be in future that you can keep some more elaborate discussions on this, because today time constraint, I will not go much on detail. Only thing I can say is that our ancient literature, which is available in Sanskrit is a very logical language. By the way, you all know it. It's a very logical language. Western country people say, one German lady once told me that if I were young, I would have started my computer business in India. I said, why? Because your Sanskrit and Hindi very closest to Sanskrit. They are very logical language, and the computer needs logic. And therefore our people, we people in India, Bharatvarshi hum log, we are very successful in computers because of our language. And there is so much literature still unexplored available in this. One German asked me once, I have a book on architecture, can you get it translated into English or German? Book on architecture written in Sanskrit. He was saying. NASA is having, I think, more than 700 transcripts written in Sanskrit. Some are on those patra, leaf written, and they are trying to do research on them, trying to understand them. Whereas we, in our country, when we talk of Sanskrit, we take it very lightly, sometimes in a very hilarious manner also. In my university, I offered a course on Sanskrit to engineering students, engineering and science students, as optional course. I could get only 20 registration. Out of that, only 8 of them paid fees for it. Very nominal fees I kept, some 100 rupees or something. So that free lunches nobody likes, so that's why let's keep some nominal fees. So now those kind of things we have to bring in, if we want to bring in our ancient philosophy, ancient thing, and educate our children for at least some value we can bring in there. Other thing also we know that that knowledge today is growing so fast that by the time an engineering student in 4 years graduates, by the time he goes to 4th year, bulk of the knowledge he gained becomes obsolete. So that is, with that speed, the knowledge is growing if you want to compete with the world and then go along the world. Sometimes people say that we want to become superpower by gaining all that knowledge. I say this word power is very derogatory. इससे एक जो ताकत जो एक नेगेटिविटी ब्रेन में आती है, नेगेटिव वेव जनरेट होती है. आप पावर क्यों बनना चाहते हैं? किस लिए? कंट्रोल करने के लिए, सबको छीनने के लिए? We should develop, that country should develop so that each one of us be happy, be satisfied, and we try to provide basic needs and necessities to the people. So that's the kind of thing I would say that we should vie for it. And for that, we should also remove the concept of giving एक नौकरी हमें देनी है किसी को ये काम करने के लिए. हम लोग नौकर बनाते हैं सब. बहुत साल पहले my son, he was very young, 4 or 5 years old, and from that time onwards I started, it opened my eyes. Suddenly he said, पापा मैं नौकरी नहीं करूँगा. I said, why not? नौकरी तो सभी करते हैं. मैं क्यों किसी का नौकर बनूं? मैं किसी का नौकर क्यों बनूं? मैंने कहा तुम्हारे पापा भी तो नौकर हैं, वो भी तो नौकरी करते हैं. नहीं, आप तो पापा हो. Look at this simple wordings. नौकरी, नौकर. हम लोगों को नौकर बनाते हैं. जो ब्रिटिशर्स ने उस टाइम पे शुरू किया था, उसी को we are continuing with that and we are using. Why don't we say we will do job? We will have some work for the people. People will do work and people will do job. So it's another concept we have to think about it from the mind of the people, that when we are doing our, looking at our ancient education, they never used to make naukar. They used to make people workers. And the index of development, according to me, in the country would be, of course, education plays a very important role for that. It's instrumental. There are two indices I have. One is, if you go in the cities and towns right now, every day in the morning on the crossroads, चौराहे पे आपको कुछ laborer बैठे मिलते हैं, that somebody will come and pick them up and they will do the job for the day. And if they do not get, somebody is not taken for 2-3 days, उनके घर में चूल्हा नहीं जलेगा. This is one. Somebody asked me once in Europe, इंडिया में आपके इंडिया का डेवलपमेंट कैसा है, कैसे ग्रोथ है? हमने कहा इंडिया इज वेरी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम योर कंट्री, दैट्स वेस्टर्न यूरोप. आई एम रेफरिंग मोर नाउ टू सोना एक जैसा ऐसा हो गया धीरे धीरे. सो आई टोल्ड दैट इन इंडिया वी स्टिल हैव बुलेट कार्ट्स, बैलगाड़ी हैं अभी भी हमारे देश में. और हम लोग, थैंक्स टू आवर लेट प्रेसिडेंट सर अब्दुल कलाम जी, हम लोग मिसाइल्स भी उड़ाते हैं, रॉकेट, सैटेलाइट पहले भी उड़ा उड़ते थे, बाद में मिसाइल भी उड़ाते हैं. तो वी हैव होल गैमेट ऑफ थिंग्स इन बिटवीन. नाउ दीज लेबरर्स, कैन देयर बी अ सिस्टम that they don't have to wait for somebody to take them out and they can have their both ends meet? Something around, my model is 15,000 rupees a month a person, if a family can get, if somebody in their family can get 15,000 rupees a month regularly within a distance of 10 to 15 kilometers from their place of residence, original place of residence, ancestral place of residence, not those slums जो गाँव से ले आके लोग शहरों में slum बनाते हैं. This is one index of development when that happens. Second index of development is the people who produce food for everybody, farmers. They have to commit suicide in our country. Why? Once I was discussing with some people who are looking after the farmers' interest and so, and they said because they are not able to repay the loan and what they take, and that's why they commit suicide. I said no, that is a reason, that's okay. But there are so many people in the country who are not able to repay the loan, they don't commit suicide. They commit suicide because they have been having self-esteem, swabhiman. Those are the people through traditions, ages, they have been having this kind of self-esteem they have, and in the society they talk about it, and it is their self-esteem or ego gets hurt, and therefore they commit suicide. So what needs to be done? A lot of things one can talk about. Look at the tractor loan and all those things. I will not talk. You know, people buy a tractor for 10 lakh rupees, tractor and implements, and that tractor works for 3 to 4 months in a year. Rest of the time, not working. Which industrialist would like to have an industry spending 10 lakh rupees and work for 3 months or 4 months and make profit out of it? Totally faulty economic model, according to me. Maybe there is something more. I'm not an economist. There is something more and more in this. So one has to look into all. What people say that cooperative kar le, ye kar le. Those are different types of things. So now, then I'll take just a few, 2 or 3 more points and then I'll stop. Today, we look at the infrastructure for education in our country. It's very elaborate. Leaving aside some tribal areas, some parts of the country, otherwise very elaborate on the so-called modern education system. More than 800 universities, 23 IITs, 32 NITs, so many IIMs, high-class institutions. We are still struggling to get any one of them into first 200 universities in the country, in the world, quality-wise. So when we talk of quantity, it should not be at the cost of quality. We should have quality also, quality education.